This is Canada in February 2026. The temperature outside is minus 30 degrees, and the wind chill is peeling paint off the walls. Yet, millions of Canadians are walking out of coffee shops holding plastic cups filled with ice. The numbers show that cold coffee orders have jumped 21% this winter alone, which defies normal survival instincts. One specific drink involving actual snow has turned this national habit into a major obsession, leading an entire country to freeze its hands to feed a caffeine addiction. The raw data from this season tells a clear story. As of February 2026, the Coffee Association of Canada reports that 1 in 5 coffees purchased yesterday was iced, even with snow on the ground. That number used to be 10% just 3 years ago. We're watching a structural shift in how people consume caffeine because it is no longer about warming up. Gen Z is leading this trend, with nearly half of that demographic refusing to drink hot coffee, regardless of the weather. When you walk past a Tim Hortons or Starbucks in Edmonton or Montreal today, you will see the drive-thru lined with people ordering the new 2026 winter lineups instead of hot chocolate. People voluntarily lower their body temperature when it is already freezing for a few reasons. Psychologists point to a concept called thermal compensation, working in reverse. Our homes, cars, and offices are heated to tropical temperatures, so a hot latte feels uncomfortable in a 22-degree office. The iced coffee regulates your internal temperature against the artificial heat. There is also a deeper social reason. Carrying an iced coffee through a blizzard has become a uniquely Canadian badge of honor that signals toughness. It says you are unbothered by the elements, serving as a subtle flex that has taken over social media feeds from Vancouver to Halifax. The recipe that went viral this month is called the Maple Taffy Pour-Over, and it combines a classic Sugar Shack tradition with modern coffee culture. The concept is simple but visually stunning. Users pack a glass full of clean snow or crushed ice and pour boiling hot maple syrup over it to create immediate sticky taffy strands. Then, they pour a double shot of espresso directly onto the taffy to melt it slightly into a sweet and smoky base. Finally, they top it with oat milk and a dash of sea salt. It is sticky and messy, but it remains popular because it turns the snow problem into a delicious solution. Pouring hot coffee on maple candy sounds like a gimmick, but the verdict from coffee experts is positive. When the hot espresso hits the frozen maple taffy, it does not dissolve immediately. Instead, you get ribbons of semi-soft caramel that slowly release sugar into the milk as you drink, creating a flavor that changes over time. The sea salt cuts the sweetness, and the texture of the snow adds a slushy consistency that you cannot get with regular cubes. It is essentially a deconstructed frappuccino made by nature, and that novelty factor drives millions of views. If you plan to try this recipe, or just enjoy watching bad decisions in cold weather, hit that subscribe button. We track the weirdest food trends every week, so you do not have to. Now, let's see how the big chains are reacting to this. The big chains notice the shift, and their 2026 strategy has pivoted aggressively toward cold foam. Their latest earnings report showed cold beverages now make up nearly 30% of total sales. In response, Tim Hortons launched the Canadian Maple Cold Foam this winter to compete directly with the homemade TikTok trends. Starbucks followed suit with their Pistachio Cortado and Caramel Protein lines, acknowledging that customers want functional cold energy drinks, even in February. The days of roll up the rim focusing solely on hot coffee are gone, as the menu boards are now dominated by ice, regardless of the forecast. Another side to this trend requires zero preparation, known as the snowbank chill. Social media is flooded with videos of Canadians using snowbanks as cup holders because it is the ultimate convenience hack. You buy your iced coffee, walk to your car, and stab the cup into the snow pile next to you, if you need to unlock the door. It stays upright and perfectly cold. This has become a visual meme format where people create elaborate snow tables for their morning brew. It highlights the practical benefit that the entire world is a walk-in freezer. It keeps the ice from melting and prevents the watered-down taste that plagues summer drinkers. Let's clear up a medical myth about cold drinks making you sick or freezing you from the inside. Physiologically, that is not quite right. While a hot drink warms your mouth and hands, it can trigger your body's cooling mechanisms, like sweating, if you are already bundled up. Consuming the sugar and fat in these viral iced coffees generates heat through thermogenesis. The caffeine also acts as a vasoconstrictor, which can slightly increase blood pressure and heart rate to make you feel more alert. The metabolic effect might actually help you power through the morning slush better than plain tea, even though the liquid is cold. Not all Canadians participate in this madness equally, as data suggest a strong link between the harshness of the winter and the dedication to iced coffee. Winnipeg and Edmonton regularly hit -40 and often post higher per capita cold drink sales than milder Vancouver. It seems that when the weather is merely rainy, people want comfort, but when the weather is dangerous, people choose defiance. The Prairie's iced coffee crowd is a specific subculture that prides itself on wearing shorts to the barbecue in January and holding a slushy drink while scraping ice off the windshield. It is less about thirst and more about dominance over the environment. We also need to talk about money, since inflation in 2026 has kept food prices high. For many young Canadians, homeownership or new cars feel out of reach, leading to the cold brew effect. A $7 specialty iced coffee is an affordable luxury and a small daily reward that fits into a budget when larger rewards do not. Making these drinks at home with the viral recipe saves money at about 90 cents per cup, but the lineups at cafes prove that people are paying for the experience. It is a treat culture where you cannot buy a house, but you can definitely buy a venti iced pistachio latte. The negative side of this trend is the waste. Winter used to be a break for the environment from plastic cups because people used reusable travel mugs for hot coffee. You cannot easily put a reusable mug under a jagged ice dispenser, and the look of the clear plastic cup is half the appeal for social media. This has led to a spike in single-use plastic waste during months where it used to dip. Cities like Toronto are now struggling with overflowing recycling bins in parks because the cups do not compress like paper hot cups do. The snow-capped trend looks great on screen, but leaves a trail of polymer across the winter streets. The home barista market has exploded because of that cost and waste. In 2026, kitchen gadget sales show that espresso machines with cold brew functions are outselling standard drip brewers. People are buying specialized cold foam frothers just to recreate the textures they get at the shop. The maple taffy recipe is just the start. We are seeing people experiment with frozen globes by freezing coffee into giant spheres so it never waters down, and using jams or jellies to line the cup. The kitchen has become a laboratory where the goal is to make a drink that looks as good as it tastes. It is creativity born from boredom and caffeine. You have likely seen the photo of a gloved hand holding a condensation-covered cup against a snowy backdrop. This image has become the default winter profile picture for thousands because it serves a specific communicative purpose. It tells your followers you are awake, functioning, and treating yourself. It is a shared language. When a user posts their maple taffy creation, they are participating in a massive nationwide inside joke. The comment section is always full of people debating the best ratio of syrup to snow, or arguing over which oat milk froths best. It builds community in a season that is usually isolating. We should briefly touch on what this does to your body. A standard large iced coffee with the syrups and foams popular in 2026 can easily hit 500 calories and 50 grams of sugar. When you drink it cold, your tongue perceives the sweetness less intensely, meaning you often crave more sugar to get the same satisfaction. Dentists are reporting higher rates of sensitivity from both the sugar and the thermal shock of ice water on teeth in freezing air. It is a delicious habit that demands moderation. That energy boost is often a sugar spike followed by a crash, which might explain why the naps are so good. The data from the last 5 years shows a straight line upward, suggesting this is not just a fad. Coffee consumption habits formed in your 20s tend to stick for life. The generation that grew up on Frappuccinos is now graduating to cold brews and bringing those habits into the workforce. We are likely to see architecture change to accommodate this, with heated cupellation for cars, better insulation for cold pickup zones separate from the steaming hot counters. The maple taffy recipe might fade when the snow melts, but the ice in the cup is here to stay. Trying the maple taffy pour-over is worth it. Even if you think it is ridiculous, there is something fun about using the environment to make your breakfast. It connects you to the season in a way that complaining about the cold never will. Just make sure you use clean snow and maybe wear an extra pair of gloves. Whether you are doing it for the caffeine or the likes, it brings a little bit of joy to a long winter. The iced coffee obsession acts as a survival strategy, turning a frozen world into a giant refrigerator and transforming a morning commute into a statement of resilience. If you found this look into Canadian culture interesting, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next breakdown. Stay warm and keep your drinks cold.